Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are here to talk about some new brushes that I have discovered and have absolutely fallen in love with. In addition to that, we're going to talk about some of my favorite sponges and some of my favorite puffs. We're going to talk about what I think about the new Tati Beauty Puff. All kinds of good stuff is on the plate for today. So if that is something you're interested in watching, you're in the right place. We're about to get into it.
I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf.
Alright, so those of you that have been around the channel for quite a while know that we have a Holy Grail series that we are continuously doing on this channel. We've done my Holy Grail foundations and primers. We've done my Holy Grail concealers. We have done a lot of Holy Grail products. I started thinking about makeup tools and what some of my Holy Grail makeup application tools looked like. Well, I've recently discovered some new products that I absolutely love, and then I also have some good old standbys that are my favorite when it comes to sponges and puffs, etc. So I thought while we were talking about all of this great stuff, we would also chat about the Tati Beauty Puff as well. But before we get into sponges and puffs, I do want to talk about brushes for just a moment. Now, some of my classic brushes that I've always loved, obviously anything by Wayne Goss is amazing. He has some gorgeous makeup brushes that are just flawless when it comes to application. In addition to his regular lineup of brushes, every year he always does a holiday brush, and this year's holiday brush is got to be one of my favorite holiday brushes from Wayne Goss. So this is the holiday brush that came out this past year. It is a really pretty fan brush. The bristles on it are so thick that it just really makes for a gorgeous brush. I will show you guys what this looks like up close so that you can really see it. But this brush, as always, is handmade out of Japan. Wayne Goss always works with Japanese makeup brush artisans. That's how his brushes are created. It has this beautiful gold ferrule. Of course, the Wayne Goss logo on the side. The holiday brush was stunning this year, and if you didn't get a chance to scoop it up, definitely stay tuned for next year's holiday brush. It's sure to be a winner as well. His brushes are always incredibly gorgeous. For me, the detail on this particular brush, especially the tapering that is going on both of the sides here, I think is absolutely amazing. Obviously, it does highlight beautifully, but really any product on the face that just needs to be dusted on, it works so pretty. I've really enjoyed it for jawline work as well, even down the bridge of the nose. Anything that I need to do, this brush has been amazing for. So this brush has become one that I've reached for a lot recently, and I think mainly because it's new and it's his holiday brush, but stunning brush. So that's really the only single that I wanted to show you guys. These two particular brush sets are brushes that I've talked to you guys, well, one company is a company I've talked to you guys about before, and then another company is one that I recently discovered and have absolutely fallen in love with. First, let's talk about the company that I've discussed with you guys in the past. So I got on board with Rephr way back in the day when they first started their Kickstarter campaign. When it came to the Kickstarter campaign, this is what we were dealing with. We had like 3 engineering students that were in Asia. They recognized the artisan craftsmanship of the Japanese artisans that make the calligraphy brushes that are used to do that beautiful Japanese calligraphy. The artisans that make those calligraphy brushes have also recently been part of making makeup brushes out there. But of course, they're all hand bundled. The craftsmanship that goes into anything that these artisans touch is amazing. Well, you had these 3 engineering students that had this appreciation for handmade brushes. Now, they had an engineering background, so they knew what they were doing when it came to making sure the brush was perfectly balanced, making sure that the composition of the brushes was really ergonomic and that it fit perfectly in your hand. But the only piece of this puzzle that was missing was opinion and input from the actual beauty community. Because again, you were looking at engineers and brush creators, but no one to tell them what the best brush looked like as far as composition was concerned. So what they decided to do was to go to the beauty community and ask what our favorite brushes were. So they started a Kickstarter campaign. You could contribute to the starting of the company. Tom, who was the guy that I was, one of the 3 that was in charge of the organization, was the guy that I was constantly in communication with. And they opened something online called the Concept Store. And this is where they would run a bunch of concept brushes. You could log on, you could buy these at like really discounted price. All you had to do was kind of test drive them a little bit and provide them feedback. Well, they constantly took all of this feedback and really put it into the design of the brushes. So they got, their goal was like, I think it was like $200,000 on Kickstarter, and they ended up raising $500,000 on Kickstarter. The beauty community jumped all in with this company because we were so excited about getting the perfect makeup brush. And I honestly have to say that these guys did not disappoint. Now, as part of being in on the Kickstarter campaign, when the Bespoke collection was released, which is what the name of one of their collections is called. It's called the Bespoke collection. I had the opportunity of choosing my handle as far as what I wanted my handle to look like. And I am a sucker for a really long handle. I love the way an extra long makeup brush handle looks and feels in my hands, and I love the way that an extra long makeup brush handle lays down product. And all of my brushes, when they showed up as part of the Kickstarter campaign, at the end of the year, you got a full set just for, contributing X amount of dollars. You can get like 4 or 5 at the end of the year. If you contributed a little bit more, then you got the base set. If you contributed like the most, then you got the entire Bespoke collection, which is what I did. And I have to say, you guys, these brushes are freaking amazing. So when I say an extra long handle, let me give you guys, show you what I mean. So this is one of their brushes, and as you can see, it has a really long handle on it. Beautiful tapered natural haired brush, perfect for setting powder underneath the eye, but it has a very unusually large handle. And just for comparison, I'll show you like the Wayne Goss version kind of this brush and what his handle looks like, so you can see the difference in the length. These are super long, but not only is like, this is the number 19 brush, beautiful, stunning brush. This is the number 5. It's a little bit fatter. This is like a bronzer or a blush brush. And then you have one of my favorite brushes of theirs. This is the number 17. It's a very soft, natural hair brush, but this little brush is the best concealer brush in the world. I love using this as a concealer brush, but they have a lot of beautiful brushes. Some of my favorites are from their eye collection. Again, you're dealing with brushes here that have a very long handle, which I absolutely love. This is the number 16. It's one of their crease brushes, and these are beautiful, natural hair, absolutely stunning brushes. But I'll give you guys a close-up of some of my favorite face brushes, and then I'll show you guys some of my favorite eye brushes from Rephr. So I'll show you guys that here while I talk to you a little bit about the process. So when you order from Rephr, you have a couple of different ways that you can do it. You can hop online and you can order any of the brushes that you see here that I'm showing you. You don't have the option of ordering ordering the extra long handle. I think that was just a special thing they did for the Kickstarters, but you can choose a matte black handle or a more pro line that has a silver ferrule with a shiny black handle. So you do still get the option of choosing what your handle looks like. The extra long is just not going to be there. But you can hop online and you can order any of the brushes that I'm showing you here. The concept store is also still open, which I think is nice because they are continuously developing the brand. So the concept store is still open. In order to get in there and shop on the concept store, all you have to do is give them your email address. You go into the concept store, you purchase one of the brushes, and all you have to do is just provide feedback about that brush. And then usually they'll send you an email and they'll give you like $25 if you want to buy another brush from the concept store and give some opinion and feedback about that brush. So they constantly want to keep the feedback loop going as they design new collections and more brushes continue to come out. The company overall is stunning. I think what they have managed to create with their brushes is beyond phenomenal. They're perfectly weighted, they're perfectly balanced, and they continue to surprise me with their new designs in the concept store. In the concept store, you'll come across some really good gems. One of the first brushes that I got from them out of the concept store was this gorgeous little number here. Of course, when I got it from the concept store, the handle was much shorter. They were just in the beginning design of this particular brush, and it ended up becoming one of the permanent members of the bespoke collection and also one of my favorite brushes. This also was a brush that I tried from the concept store. Now this one obviously has a different handle. This was just the normal. This didn't come as part of my collection, so it doesn't have the extra long handle on it. This is just one that I got out of the concept store, and this is a duo fiber brush, which I absolutely love. The duo fiber on this is absolutely stunning. It applies foundation amazingly well. As you can see, the bristles here are incredibly light, and then it gets really dense down towards the bottom, and it applies foundation in just this beautiful light airbrush way. I love the way this kind of shears out my foundation, and it's an absolutely stunning brush. Now, they're still taking feedback on this brush. I don't know if this is going to be part of a future lineup, but it's definitely a gem that I was able to get my hands on in the concept store, and I provided them feedback on this particular brush as well. So it's exciting to see what this brush's story is going to be in the future. So that is a little bit about Rephr. I will make sure that I have their link down in the description box below. They are definitely worth checking out if you're looking for some really good quality products. Then Rephr is going to be the way to go. Now, I know that there are some options where you have to wait a couple of weeks for them to send it to you, but again, small independent company, all of this stuff is handcrafted by artisans, so it is probably going to take a little bit of time to get your brushes to you. I know that if you picked certain handles, sometimes the shipping on that can be up to like 10 weeks, and then some of them they have in stock, so they can ship it to you right away. But regardless, they're definitely worth the wait, so definitely check out Rephr. The next brushes that I want to talk to you guys about are from a YouTuber, and the YouTuber I'm talking about is Lisa J. For those of you that don't know Lisa J Makeup, she has her own channel on YouTube. She is in the over 40 community, which is one of the main reasons why I've always loved her, and she started BK Beauty, and BK Beauty has launched the first products and their brushes, and you guys, they're amazing brushes. I was so excited to get my hands on these babies, and they did not disappoint. So Again, I will have down in the description box below a link to Lisa J Makeup's channel and a link to the BK Beauty site so you can go and check these out. She came out with face brushes and eye brushes. The face brushes, you guys, the superstar as far as I'm concerned of the entire collection is the foundation brush. This is the number 101 brush from BK Beauty. First of all, can we just talk about the color? These are gorgeous. These kind of burgundy maroon handles with this gorgeous ferrule. These are so beautiful. They are synthetic and they feel like quite possibly the softest synthetics that I have ever felt in my life. This foundation brush in particular is so incredible because of the shape. Not only do you have this wide surface area here that is absolutely amazing for pressing foundation into the skin, but you also have this kind of end here, which is a little bit looser packed with the bristles that really allows you just to kind of buff the product into the skin. I love this foundation brush. This has quickly become one of my favorite brushes out of this entire collection. She put a lot of thought into this particular brush. Definitely make sure that you watch her launch video where she talks about each of these brushes individually, in particular her thought process behind the creation of this brush. But this brush is amazing, and this is the 101. Obviously, she also has the 104, which is a beautiful rounded brush. Again, very, very soft, picks up the perfect amount of product. I love the larger brush as well. This is the 102. This is the big powder brush. So incredibly soft and fluffy, but it just picks up the right amount of product and it really just places the right amount of product on the face. Gorgeous brush. And then also the 106, which I really like. It's this dense brush. This is also good for foundation or for any kind of cream product. I love using this if I need like a smaller type of a buffing brush. And then this brush as well, which is the 105, my favorite for bronzing. This is the best bronzer in the world. It just buffs your bronzer on so perfect. And it's, again, really densely packed, but so soft. These brushes are so soft. And then, of course, she also has the 103. This is also perfect for bronzing. It's also really good for blush as well. So that is the face collection. Gorgeous, absolutely beautiful brushes. This one is really, really good for setting underneath the eye. I love all of these face brushes. They are all gorgeous. And the eye brushes are just as beautifully designed. My favorite is the 202, of course. This is going to be the tapered brush. So this is like a really good tapered crease brush. So it's good if you have hooded eyes. It really gets into that crease and blends powder out absolutely beautifully. So soft, but the tapered end on this is absolutely stunning. Then she also has the 201, which is a nice fluffy blending brush. This is a little bit bigger. This is going to be really good to just buff out a really pretty gradient. Any kind of buffing that you need to get done on the eye, this is a gorgeous brush for that reason. And then, of course, you also have the 205. This is like a slanted blender, which is really good for outer V work, especially when you want to just work right out here on the edge. Gorgeous brush for that. You do have just like a flat shader brush, the 203. This is more like, you know, a packing brush just for lid work, just to get stuff, you know, laid down on the lid, or if you just want to lay down pigment and then go in and blend it out. So this is just kind of like, the 203 is just like a standard shader brush. And then one of my favorites as well is the 204. This is a smudger brush, and I know smudger brushes are kind of underrated, but it's hard to find a really good smudger brush that's soft. This one is so soft and does a great job just smoking out that lower lash line. absolutely gorgeous. So these are the brushes from the eye collection. She did an amazing job on all of these. These brushes all together are gorgeous and well worth the investment. They will last you forever. They're incredibly well made. Washing and caring for these has been a breeze. They wash beautifully and they hold their shape beautifully. I can't tell you just the foundation brush alone how many times I've used and washed this brush and it still looks just like it did when I first got it. So they hold their shape incredibly well. They're really, really well designed. She did an amazing job on this brush set. So if you haven't had a chance to check out any of the brushes from BK Beauty, definitely check them out. They are so worth it and definitely my favorite brushes that I'm using currently right now. I love these brushes. Also, while we're talking about tools, let's go ahead and transition over to sponges. This is going to be really quick for me. I have honestly just been rotating through the same 3 sponges that I've always used, and if you guys have been around here for any length of time, you probably know what I'm going to talk about. I love the Dose of Colors sponge. I love the shape, but I really like the bottom of it because it does give me such a wide area when it comes to applications, so I really love this sponge. Iconic London has one of the best beauty sponges out there. It's so soft, and this is like my perfect texture. It's not too soft, but it's soft enough that it feels really luxurious, and I like it because it releases product really well. I don't have to sit and scrub to get this clean. It comes clean quite nicely, so I really like the Iconic London sponge. And then my favorite sponge overall has always been one that not a lot of people have heard of, and I don't know why, because it is an amazing sponge, and it's from Elsie Cosmetics. Now, I've talked about Elsie here on this channel from like way back in the day, but recently Elsie is now being sold in Ulta, so you can actually get Elsie products online at Ulta. And the sponge that Elsie makes is probably one of my most used sponges. And obviously it's because of the shape. You have this huge bottom area here, which is perfect for blending. And I love that you actually have something to grip onto with the kind of stiletto end of this. So you have something to grip onto and it blends perfectly. But then with this like stiletto end of this brush, you have something that will really allow you to get in here and do concealer and get really in there anywhere where you need to get some detail blending done. It comes clean really well. It holds up really nicely. This is probably one of the most underrated products out there. This is a gorgeous product. So if you've never checked out the beauty sponge from Elsie Cosmetics, then definitely check this one out. If I'm not mistaken, I do think this is available online at Ulta. As always, I'll make sure I have all of this stuff linked in the box down below. All right, so puffs. Let's talk about Tati Beauty and the puffs that I use and how I use them. So before we talk, well, actually, no, we'll talk about Tati Beauty first. So this is the Tati Beauty Velour Puff. And, you know, that's basically what it is it's a puff. It's very soft puff, and it's made very well. I like it, but I will say this. Because of Tati, back in the day, and I mean probably 5 years ago, Tati used to talk about a puff that was similarly shaped like this. As a matter of fact, it's basically this puff. And she used to rave about them. And I actually bought one of their puffs because of Tati, because Tati used to recommend them to everybody, and she used to use them in her videos all the time. And that is a little indie brand called the Forever Puff. And this is the Forever Puff that I have had for probably 4 or 5 years now. The Forever Puff was the first brand, the first indie brand out there to come up with these different shape kind of velour puffs that were very thin, very soft, and kind of made of the same thing. They have a bunch of fun prints that you can choose from on their website, including small ones. They even have little finger puffs that you can put on your finger. But the Forever Puff has been around forever. And I heard about them through Tati. Tati used to rant and rave about the Forever Puff. She's the whole reason I bought one. So I was really surprised to see when she just came out with, I guess, her own Forever Puff. So, I mean, I get it. I think that's, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I kind of hate it when little indie brand companies like this get undercut, you know, by a bigger name or a bigger brand that kind of, you know, dupes their product a little bit. And I don't know, you know, if this was like a high-end puff that, you know, came from Pat McGrath and this cost like $150, and then Tati came out with a similar one and made it, you know, $5, then I could kind of understand it, because she's taken a great idea and making it available to the masses at a price they can afford. But this is kind of like the opposite of that, you know, like the Forever Puff guys, like this is a small indie brand. They hand make these puffs and they do a really good job at it. They're pretty much just like this one, you know, and then along comes this huge influencer that puts a product out that directly competes with that. So I don't know. I just think, I love Tati. She is probably my favorite influencer out there. And this is the first time that I've ever gone, ooh, you know, to a product that Tati has, recommended or made in this case. But I mean, it is what it is. She did improve on it a little bit. I think that the outside of it is, it feels just a little bit softer than the Forever Puff does, but I don't necessarily know that that makes me like this one more, because the texture on the Forever Puff is very specific. You have the soft side that's really soft, and this is really good for cream products. But then you also have this side that has kind of like short bristles on this side that does amazing with powder products. So you kind of have this dual purpose type of puff where you can press in your powders, and then your cream products you would use for the softer side for. This, as far as I can tell, is just all soft all the way around. But, you know, same shape, same insides. I think it's just the material on the outside that is a little bit different. Tati also has, you know, the little mini Tati. This is supposed to just be for touch-ups and stuff, and you know, Forever Puff has the same thing. They have little mini ones just like this, but the Forever Puff actually has ones that you can slide onto your finger and use as a little puff that slides onto your finger. They have oval shaped ones as well. They have big round ones. They have all kinds of different shapes. So the Tati Beauty one I've used, it's effective. It works like a puff. It's not anything life-changing, you know. I get the same thing out of this one. And as a matter of fact, the Beauty Blender has a really nice one as well. The difference with the Beauty Blender one is this side is more of like a rubbery type of a sponge, which this side works really, really good with cream products, with foundation. So this is more of like a Beauty Blender type of a texture. So it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's sponge. It's actual sponge. It feels like a beauty blender on this side. So it works really, really good with cream or liquid product. And then, of course, you have this side, which is fabric. So it's really soft on this side, and this works really, really good with powder products. And I do like the fact that the band is on this, and you can also slide your fingers in this as well, which is really nice, especially with this side when you're using powder, because you can really get up underneath here. I really do like this little puff as well. So I think all of these are really good. I love the Forever Puff. I love the Beauty Blender Puff. I think these two are perfect. So I don't think these are really anything special or revolutionary. I've seen a lot of videos out there of people like, oh my gosh, this does an amazing job with cream, and I mean, but any puff out there kind of would do the same thing. So they're great, they look super cute, and they are really, really soft. So if that's something that speaks to you, you know, definitely pick them up. I would definitely check out Forever Puff though. They are a small company, everything they do is handmade, and their products are amazing, and they've been around for a really long time. So definitely check out Forever Puff as well. I will make sure their stuff is in the description box below. But I think the best velour puff on the face of the planet is probably the Laura Mercier velour puff. Mine is really dirty, so excuse it, but I love using this because I use it a lot to rest. I will rest my hand on my face while I'm doing like my eye and things like that. So I love that for this. These little small puffs are perfect for that. So if you're ever like, you know, if you need to do some really detailed eye work and you know you're going to have your hand kind of resting on your face, then slide this down your fingers while you work, and that will keep you from putting your handprint on your face or onto anybody that you're working on. So that is a good little tip to keep in mind there as well. All right, you guys, so that is it for today's video, a rundown of my favorite sponges and what I think of the puffs that are out there on the market. We talked about Rephr, and we talked about BK Beauty's brand new brushes that I absolutely love. We have talked about it all, so it is time to get out of here. Listen, if you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you stopped by. Make sure you hit the subscribe button before you leave. Come over and visit me on Instagram at EricaApproved. I would love to have you guys over there. As always, I hope all of you guys are very happy and very, very healthy. And I will see you guys in the next video.